Hi, my name is Heather Massey, and I am here to help you take your website 937salonandspa.com to the next level. As I first glance at your website, it is nice. I like that you use calm colors and that you have this clear, sharp photo that adds a nice personal touch. The thing that I would change about this first screen would be to add more white space along the sides and to maybe frame everything within the center of the page. Adding, some weight to this About Us title and framing this paragraph so that it fits nicely in an organized fashion. The photo, as I said, is nice. It adds a personal touch and the atmosphere looks very pleasant. So that's good to put on your first page. Some other things I like is the book now. Um, you've put that into a button. You've used shape, and that's good. I like when you hovered over it, it darkens. You might even just leave it dark so that it's clear from the get-go that that is a button. And if you click there, you're going to be able to book a service. Going up here to the top menu categories, the first thing is this hours and location. What might be a little confusing is services and booking is underneath that. I understand booking has to do with hours, but services should maybe be displayed in another way. I'm going to go ahead and click on the services button here. Um, at first glance, you notice that something happened here with the header, so we'd want to maybe change that, maybe reorganize it so that everything fits cleanly on the page. And also looking at the rest of the page, you did a good job of framing this. I do like that you've used some white space here in the center behind the menu, and that you framed it with this gray. Um, the menu should probably be tightened up a little bit, maybe cleaned up, maybe add some buttons behind these headers, such as short haircut, and maybe add some drop-down menus just to keep it cleaner and simple. Also, this hair button here. It's actually not a button, but this hair square, maybe drop that down. And it kind of looks like it should be a button to another page. So we might want to change that and actually take it out of the shape so that doesn't cause any confusion. Looking at a couple of your other pages on the shop menu, what I like about this page a lot is that you've put your products into these circles. That makes for a nice, clean display. Again, the biggest thing I would do to this page is maybe add some more white space around the sides and to frame that up. It's a good touch that you added reviews. I think this goes a long way with someone looking for a new salon to read about positive experiences other people have had. Again, I would add the framing of the white space to that. And then there's also the blog. This is great information. I would maybe make these headings in a bold, larger font so that they stand out. I like that you've used some of the framing there. And this last page, career opportunities. Again, I would add white space to the side. I would maybe bring this photo in some, make it a little smaller, and in this paragraph, I would set it so that this email address is a link. And I would change the font so that it's apparent that's a link. But other than that, I mean, I think you've done a good job with your site. I just think there's some things that we could change to take it to the next level and, to bring it into a more modern design. As I mentioned, modern design, since 2011, more smartphones are sold each year than PCs. So that means a lot of your customers now are not looking at your website on this large screen. Instead, they're looking at it on their phone screen. And with that, you're going to lose about 80% of your page. So you need to focus in on what is important. And there's a philosophy called mobile first design. And that was a phrase that was coined by a industry expert that works at Google, Luke Robolewski. And basically, this philosophy says just this. You're going to lose 80% of your page. So let's keep things simple. Let's focus on the important task that the user has in mind when they come to your site. What is the information that you need to make sure that they know when they come to this page? I would think like telephone numbers, services, maybe some information about your team, but how can you organize that onto the page so that they can easily get to that information? And that's where the phrase that I used a lot of white space along the sides, because you're losing your screen. So if you have everything framed with a lot of white space around it, it's easy to cut that screen down and to make it smaller. And when you do that, you're setting up the site to be a responsive design. And when you do that, the menus, it's important that they are clear and simple and easily displayed on a small screen. And it's also important that your pictures can easily adapt to a smaller size and resolution. There's another industry expert by the name of Melissa Rock. With She's with Brain Traffic, and she came up with a core strategy plan. It kind of simplifies the process of going through this. It basically divides it into two categories: your content components and your people components. And within content components, you want to remember the substance of your site, which again is the important information. What product are you selling? What services are you selling? And structure, how you're going to display that so that they see what's important on your page. And the people components will be, what tools do they need from your site to make their time easier. And for example, for a user that would be using a mobile phone, a lot of times GPS would be an important tool. So you want to make sure your site is set up so that it can easily, navigate to where your location is. So that's an example of how they would use a tool for workflow. Another example would be um, that you need to keep in mind is basically, how often are you going to update this website? How are you going to maintain that website? And you want to come up with a plan that makes that easier. As you notice, I went to another site. Now, I know this company is much bigger than you, and they have a lot more resources and what have you, but it's sort of in the same industry as you, and they appeal to a lot of the same consumers that you do. You'll notice on their website, Sephora.com, that they use a lot of the white space that I mentioned. And that's because they've made their site in a responsive design so that it can quickly adapt to your smartphone. As I mentioned before, you're going to lose a lot of the screen. So a lot of this white space, that's not really area that you need. You'll also notice on their website here on the PC that as they have the white space, they also use a lot of color for their menu headings, and they organize them in this bar, and that just gives a nice clean appearance. And they also use bright color as they need to. They've also done a good job of their headings against the white screen so they really stand out. And we'll take a look at one of their categories here, skincare. Skincare, for instance, on the PC, you're going to see the various different subcategories. If you're shopping by concern, if you're shopping for moisturizers, these are just some other ways that you can navigate through their site and quickly find what you're looking for. They have all these various filters. This becomes a little more complicated on your phone screen, and I took a look at their phone screen. I can't really share that here, but they made good use of these menu selections on their phone screen. When you click on them, they do a much more important task than they do here on the larger computer screen, that you quickly can go to them, and the subcategories, instead of being like the filters like this, or going across the page, which would become very busy on the phone screen, they become drop down menus. So that works really well when you're looking at their page from a mobile phone. So I think as we went over this, these are just some of the basic suggestions I have to kind of take your site to the next level. And I think we can do that quite easily. Thank you for your time. If you have any questions, just let me know.